Hello friends, and welcome to Jocelyn's Twilight Years, how to be a really old model. Now this week I am in Connecticut, which is beautiful. As you can see, it belongs to a friend of mine who I am shooting with, and I'm very happy. And yet, last week I was telling someone what I was doing this week, and I heard myself say, oh, and next week I've got to fly to New York. And then I thought, oh, Jocelyn, shut up. Why have you just made it sound like it's really an inconvenience? Because, you know, I never believe people when they say, oh, yes, I used to have to travel a lot for work and I hated it. I really hated it. And yet I just fell into the stupid same trap of pretending that I don't like it. And I love it. So I thought I will illustrate this point with a montage, which is starting now. Oh, I've got to lie in a hammock. I've got to eat some American crumb cake. I've got to be in a movie. I've got to go on a location shoot. I've got to buy a pumpkin. I've got to have dinner out. I've got to eat an almond joy bar. I've got to shoot by a lake. I've got to eat some noodles. I've got to have a shower. I've got to go to bed. I've got to go out for pancakes. I've got to be a man. I've got to build a fire. I've got to eat an artisan baked Pop-Tart. I've got to sit on an aeroplane. I've got to eat a Santa Fe salad. I've got to check in at a motel. I've got to shoot a well-paid custom video. I've got to ride on the air train. I've got to drive my rental car. I've got to go to a photo shoot in Rhode Island. I've got to practice gymnastics at the beach. I've got to drive to St. Petersburg. I've got to straighten my hair. I've got to collect my bags. I've got to go to a super hard spanking shoot. I've got to walk on the sidewalk. I've got to fly to Florida. I've got to sleep on the airport floor. I've got to drive to a bondage shoot. I've got to shoot at a Hilton hotel. I've got to get ready for dinner. I've got to take a shuttle. I've got to learn my lines. I've got to drive to Walmart. I've got to collect my baggage. I've got to work out by the Atlantic. I've got to shoot a tickling video. I've got to have a shower. I've got to go kayaking with alligators. I've got to go to bed. I've got to shoot with Jim Hunter. I've got to go to the grocery store. I've got to go to a massage. I've got to have breakfast at Denny's. I've got to drive to Tampa Airport at midnight. I've got to drive to JFK. Oh. And I'm home. I've got to drive on the M25. Well, that is what I'm doing. So that was a video about not pretending to complain when you're actually boasting. I suppose it is in some way related to humble bragging, which is when you say things like, oh, it was so amazing, I couldn't understand why all these 20,000 people came to watch me singing in the stadium, because you are pretending to be humble. No, I don't understand, while actually going, yes, I'm amazing, all these people came. And I think that when you go, oh, I've got to catch a plane to New York, when you're actually saying, wow, I'm going to New York, it's disingenuous. And if you really think it's impressive, you should say it honestly and say, I'm really impressed, I'm going to New York, it makes me feel like a real model, which it does, FYI. So that was my thought for the month. Do not do boastful complaints. That's what you probably don't. I apparently do, but I'm working on not doing it anymore. I can't tell you how nice it is to be back in the UK, in the cold, in the dark, with all the falling leaves around, needing to wear warm clothes outside after Florida. I love Florida. It was a very interesting place to be, but I feel like I have a lot more energy in the UK. So, thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share. It means the world, as always. And please come back next month. I have something interesting planned for next month. I think it's interesting anyway. Bye. Thank you for watching.